What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Sports Now. Today I'm talking to you about outfield. I got 5 undervalued, 3 breakouts, and 5 more sleepers. There's a ton of outfield out there. There always is every year. And I'm a guy who likes to talk about content. I don't like to talk about intros, and I don't like to have an hour-long video on 5 players and why you need to draft them. If you're spending an hour long to figure out 5 players, they talk about the top 5 guys anyway, so what's the point? Let's get into the content. Undervalued. Now, these guys are people who are going way too late in drafts. They might be top guys, but I just think that they're undervalued. They need to be higher. And if they're not higher, then you can wait and probably get really good value out of them. And that's what I'm talking about with Aaron Judge. Average draft pick is 50. I look at this guy and it's just like, I get it. Like, I understand why you might be hesitant to take him. The last time he had a full season was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, he gets hurt quite often. He's had that rib injury for almost 2 years now. But that year he did have a full season, in my league, he was number 1 in points. I don't know what your league is set up like in points-wise, but he was number 1 overall. So this year, I know that he talked about doing some different kind of exercises this offseason to try to stay healthy. And honestly, Aaron Judge going 50th, that's like 4th, 5th round in some leagues. That's just ludicrous because his upside to me is not only a top 2 outfielder, but a top 5 overall hitter. And he's going ranked 15th outfield. That's preposterous, guys. If you can snag Aaron Judge, yes, there is a risk that he might not play every day. He might not play every game, but guess what? There's backup outfielders that you can take to sub when he's not playing that day. If he goes on the DL for a little bit, who cares? Because honestly, 150 games of Aaron Judge is phenomenal, especially at this value. It's ridiculous. Next is Joey Gallo. Had a horrible year last year, but boy, this guy hits home runs, and I don't know why he wouldn't return back to form. Playing in Texas always gives up dongs, in Texas. 142, Joey Gallo. Wow. For what he was in 2019, to get him at 142 now is crazy. I don't think Texas is going to be a great team, but their offensive lineup actually isn't that bad. I don't think they'll win a lot of games because they don't have a lot of great players. Their pitching's not great, even though there's some depth there. But we don't care about pitching. We care about home runs. If this is a category league, I might be a little timid to take Gallo just because his average does not come up very much. But he's going to hit better than he did last year. So if you're in a points league, Gallo can be a great pick this late. Next is 2 guys, actually. I have them kind of back to back here. They're very similar, actually. They're just so steady. Yeah, Conforto gets hurt occasionally, a little bit more than Castellanos does, but these guys are so rock steady. I know I just made the case in point of why you should take Aaron Judge, even though he gets hurt. But these 2 guys are so good at being in the lineup and just hitting. They do they don't steal a lot of bases anymore. Conforto used to steal more bases. He does occasionally steal a few bags, but Castellanos doesn't really steal. But these guys, seems like every 3-4 games, they're having just a mammoth game, and I could easily see both of them going into the top 10, especially Conforto. I'll go ahead and make the delineation now. Michael Conforto is going to have a huge year. He's hitting in a lineup right behind Lindor, and he's going to be backed by Pete Alonso and Dominic Smith. So, I mean, the Mets are going to absolutely dominate, I think, offensively, and he is smack dab in the middle of that. I could easily see him getting into the top 10, and a lot of people don't really know who Michael Conforto is, which is sad. It really is. He's not a superstar name, and somehow that has led him into getting great value for him. And so for me and you, let's get him. Next, I'm going back to that Yankees well. It's the exact same argument for Aaron Judge. Look at this average draft pick. 110? He's been a first-round pick for most people for the last 7 years, and now all of a sudden we're done with the guy. He won't play, and he's not going to play, and da-da-da-da-da. I think the Yankees are taking a lot better care of these guys this year. Like I said, they've already changed their off-season rehab and all that stuff. The DH exists. They're going to use it. Stanton, when he's healthy, he's a top 10, top 15 hitter. He smokes the ball, guys. So to sit here and take him at 110, 46th overall outfield for Stanton, I thought that was a joke when I saw it, honestly. I thought the site was just kidding. You know, like, I was looking for Stanton, and he's 46th? That's ridiculous. That's a joke to me. So, obviously take Stanton at 110. I mean, if he's there, because that's beyond undervalued. Next, looking at breakouts, guys that I really think can be, like, league winners, potentially. You're not going to get very good value necessarily because I think everybody thinks that these two guys are going to break out, but I can give you a little insight as to why, I suppose. Both of them were, let me think, Robert was number 2 overall prospect, and I think Eloy was too. I think they were both number 2 on the prospect list for a while, and it's because that they can absolutely mash the ball. So you can see their average draft picks. They are compared with each other because they both play outfield. They're both really good prospects, and they're both on the same team. They both play outfield. I think, honestly, one of them will go off. I think it'll be Robert. I think Eloy kind of struggled defensively, and I think it kind of played with his mind, whereas Robert is just a better prospect defensively. So I think that Robert can take that next leap, and Eloy will be right behind him. So if you have to pick one of them, I would go with Robert, but both of these guys are this close to a massive season, a season that can get them into the top 5 overall outfield. Next is Grisham, and you could say probably that he already did break out, but I think the sky's the limit, really. Big dude playing for San Diego. They're going to have such a good offense. The only downside to Grisham is the fact that San Diego's park is so big. So, I mean, that kind of stinks, but Grisham at the average draft pick 62, it seems about right, but if you believe in Grisham like I do, then you could probably take him a little earlier because I think he is going to be huge in that lineup. Again, the thing that I focus on a lot this year is, like, there seems to be these super teams, you know, kind of forming like the NBA, and we want to have guys on these super teams. So Trent Grisham in the middle of San Diego's lineup is what you want. Just like with Conforto, he's going to be in a great lineup, so that's what you want. These guys get your counting stats. All right, 5 sleepers. Let's get in here. This guy I've talked about a lot, and I'm going to keep talking about him. Average draft pick 165 I think is silly. I think he needs to be taken well before that. Dylan Carlson, he's going to be heading behind Paul Goldschmidt and Arenado. He hit 4th in the wild card game last year. He's like 23 years old. I do think there's going to be growing pain, but I think he already went through it a little bit. He came up and wasn't that great and had some growing pain and came out and hit 350. I think that when you're talking about a Rosarina versus Carlson, Carlson's going like 100 picks later and could be just as good, if not better, than a Rosarina. So keep that in mind, because to me, his top side is top 20 outfield. Not that difficult, I honestly don't think. Next, Alex Verdugo. Similar, had pretty good pedigree as a prospect, came up and hit pretty well last year. I think a lot of people just don't believe that he's going to kind of take that next step. I do to a degree. I don't think he's going to really bust out like a lot of these kind of prospects are doing, but I think that he's a solid value at this point, and he does have the upside and the possibility of that breakout. So getting a Verdugo this late is a good pick. Next, Austin Hayes. Most of you probably don't remember Austin Hayes, but I think 3 years ago he was the number 5 prospect in baseball, and he didn't work. He went back down, and he's back, and he's starting in Baltimore, and the pedigree is there. He looks good, and it's Camden Yards. This is probably one of the deeper sleepers of any of these lists. So if you're looking at a deep league, Austin Hayes, keep an eye on him, because I think that he could really make a big move, and people are going to start drafting him a lot sooner next year. It might be a little too early this year, but I want to have it on record that I believe in Austin Hayes, and I think he's going to be good this year. Victor Robles, he's kind of a defensive first guy now, and it's kind of unfortunate because he had another big pedigree, you know, like a lot of these guys. Look at this average draft pick, though. He's getting picked behind Carlson. And honestly, Robles' pedigree was much bigger than Carlson's was. So to me, you know, if he could get on base more and start stealing those bags, I think he's going to have tremendous upside. I think Washington's going to have a bounce back team. this year, and I think that he's going to be part of it. The downside with him is he bats so late in the lineup that it's like, man, he's only getting 3 at-bats a game. However, starts having a better season, good year. I could see him in that top 30, top 25. Last guy I want to send your way is Alex Kirilloff, a prospect that was known for hit first. Initially was a first base prospect who they decided that, you know what, we need to get him in the lineup essentially because he's hitting, like he hits, that's what we need. So they decided to stick him in the outfield, and to my knowledge, as of right now, he's playing right field for the Twins going forward. So this is one of those guys that could be Rookie of the Year, and if you want to be on the right side of having Rookie of the Year, then at 268, you're going to have an opportunity to pick him. I'd put him in the top 3 to win Rookie of the Year right now because he is an absolute hit-first kind of guy. He's playing in Minnesota. Like I said, they're going to play the Tigers, Kansas City a lot. I think he's going to mash. I think he's going to be good. This one ran a little long, guys, because we got a lot of people in the outfield. I expect the pitching one to be a little bit longer. But, guys, like I said, man, these other sites, an hour, 5 players. Come on. Target these guys. Oh, no, this way. Target these guys, not these guys. These guys were good. They were the best. But, you know, target these guys for baseball, all right? Anyway, have a good one, y'all. We'll see you next time.